Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. You know, aside from How to Train Your Dragon, there's something else that I haven't talked about for 5 years. The father of Japanese manga himself, Osamu Tezuka. If you may remember, back then, I looked at the 2 Unico movies, and I still believe that these 2 are underrated anime films. And I'm glad that Unico was one of the many horse-related media that influenced my title as Mustang Prince. Anyway, for today's episode, we're going to talk about a character from Tezuka's works, which became one of his famous creations ever. Astro Boy. Astro Boy made his debut in 1961 as the first domestically produced anime program on Japanese television. The 30-minute weekly program, of which 193 episodes were produced, led to the first craze for anime in Japan. In America, the TV series, which consisted of 104 episodes licensed from Japanese Run, was also a hit, becoming the first Japanese animation to be shown on U.S. television. Although, the U.S. producers downplayed and disguised the show's Japanese origins. And of course, some people believe that Astro Boy is the Mickey Mouse of Japan. Several other Astro Boy series have been made since, as well as a 2009 CGI animated feature, which is what I'll be looking at today. So, without further ado, released in Hong Kong on October 8th and the United States on October 23rd, 2009, the movie is Astro Boy. So let's get started. Our story is set in Metro City, a city that floats above a junk-infested Earth set in a far and distant future. A boy named Toby, who's the son of the head of the Ministry of Science, Dr. Tenma, decides to visit the ministry without his father's permission. And when testing the newly discovered positive and negative energy cores from outer space for the military's ultimate weapon known as the Peacekeeper, Toby gets caught in between the explosions of both energies and gets killed. That night, Dr. Tenma and his friend Dr. Elephant create a robot replica of his deceased son by giving him the positive energy core for extra power, making the creation a success. But later on, Tenma discovers that the robot Toby isn't like the real Toby. This causes him to reject his new son, who runs away. And when the military discovers that the robot Toby contains the positive energy core, they chase after him. But as soon as they attack Toby, he falls to the surface below and sets out to explore the world and find acceptance, learning what being human is all about in the process, as well as making some new friends. But when the people of Metro City are in danger, Toby, now known as Astro, uses his incredible powers to save all that he loves. So, what are my thoughts? Well, in my opinion, I find this movie to be very underrated, and I think the makers of this movie did an astonishing job with this movie, and I enjoyed every bit of this movie. But to further explain why I love it, let's move on to Mustang notes. In 1997, Sony Pictures Entertainment purchased the film rights to Astro Boy from Tezuka Productions, intending to produce a live-action feature film. Todd Alcott was set to write the screenplay, but the film halted in 2000 when Steven Spielberg began AI, artificial intelligence. Another film with a robot boy who replaces a dead child. In December 2001, Sony hired Eric Layton to direct an all-CGI film, with Angry Films and Jim Henson Productions producing it for a 2004 release. A screenplay draft was written, but the film did not go into production, and Layton left in early 2000 to pursue other film projects. In June 2004, animator Genndy Tartakovsky was hired to direct a live-action /animatronics/CGI feature film. After writing the script, the film didn't go into production, and Tartakovsky left next year to direct CGI animated feature films for a new studio, Orphan Animation Studios. In September 2006, it was announced that Hong Kong-based animation film Imagi Studios, who previously worked on TMNT, would produce a CGI animated Astro Boy movie with Colin Brady directing it. In 2008, Summit Entertainment took over the film's distribution rights, and during the same year, Brady was replaced with David Bowers. But sadly, after receiving mixed reviews from film critics and earning about $42 million worldwide on a $65 million budget, the movie bombed at the box office. And as a result, this movie became the last film produced by Imagi Animation Studios before the company shut down on February 5th, 2010. Now, what are my thoughts on the animation? Well, in my opinion, the CGI animation looks fantastic, and I believe that Imagi Studios were the perfect team for the job, because, like with TMNT, they knew how to adapt a certain media and keep it to its roots. Sad that they're no longer in business anymore. Plus, several of the character designs are great too, and they really do stay true to their original manga designs, while also updating them for a modern American audience. Plus, the robots are great too, looking almost as cartoony as they were in the manga and in the TV show, but also as if they were real robots due to the great CGI animation. As for Metro City itself, well, it looks very futuristic and out of this world. Sorta, but due to it being a floating city in the sky. Also, in my opinion, several of the military robots look kind of like stormtroopers from the Star Wars movies. Also, in my opinion, the surface world below the city, despite mostly looking like a junkyard, looks good as well. However, there's one little flaw I have with this movie. It's how the robots are treated by the humans. I mean, sometimes some of the robots are treated like slaves at times, and most of the humans consider them nothing but machines that'll do what they tell them. Still, I feel that people shouldn't abuse technology. Also, there's one robot I should talk about before I move on, which would have to be the Peacekeeper. This thing has prototype adaptive technology, which allows it to absorb other things and technology. In my opinion, due to it being powered by the negative red core, the Peacekeeper is a killing machine. Plus, not only is this thing responsible for killing Dr. Tenma's son Toby, but it also absorbed President Stone to cause a rampage on Metro City. However, there was one way to stop it. When the positive and negative energy cores come together, they both get destroyed. Anyway, let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. Our main hero, Astro Boy, aka Toby Tenma, is voiced by Freddie Highmore. Best known from Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Arthur and the Invisibles trilogy, The Golden Compass, and Finding Neverland. In my opinion, While Astro looked 6 years old in the TV show and in the manga, in this film, he was made to look like a 12-year-old in order to appeal to a larger audience, which wasn't really a bad idea in my opinion. Plus, Freddie Highmore's voice performance pulls it off with flying colors. As for what I think of the character, well, I really like Astro, due to his selflessness, brave, and kind-hearted personality. And I think his abilities are really hardcore, like jet-powered flight, laser arm cannons, drilling through rocks, and in case you're wondering, yes, the butt guns were in the manga. Astro's father and creator, Dr. Bill Tenma, is voiced by Nicolas Cage, who got to be in National Treasure, Ghost Rider, G-Force, World Trade Center, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and just recently, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Dr. Tenma is the head of Metro City's Ministry of Science. In my opinion, Tenma is a brilliant scientist, and I think, while creating Astro, it was pretty clever to upload his deceased son's memories into Astro's head. But at the same time, Tenma is very relatable while he feels mentally hurt. But later in the movie, Tenma becomes more of a returning father figure who takes back Astro as his son. Next we have Tenma's friend and associate, Dr. Elephant, voiced by Davy Jones himself, Bill Nighy, who also got to be in Harry Potter 7 Part 1, Rango, Wrath of the Titans, and he'll be in the upcoming Detective Pikachu movie this summer. To me, Dr. Elephant is a kind scientist, and I like that he helps Tenma by using positive blue energy to bring Astro to life. When Tenma decides to abandon Astro for not being human-like, Elephant tends to be more caring, and he tells Astro that he just has to find his place in the world. Also, Elephant seems to not like President Stone trying to use the Red Core due to its negative energy. Next we come to the main villain of the film, President Stone, voiced by Donald Sutherland, who got to be in Final Fantasy The Spirits Within and the Hunger Games films. You know, I really hate this guy, because like any insane politician, Stone is focused on an upcoming election where he hopes to be re-elected in. In the film, Stone is intent on impressing the city's voters with the Peacekeeper robot, demanding it to be made to protect the city from a possible attack from the service world. Plus, Stone is also dangerously reckless, as demonstrated by sending numerous troops to capture Astro in the middle of Metro City. While he enjoys weapons and machinery, he thinks very little of robots, openly mocking Astro when he gets captured. Plus, when he gets absorbed into the Peacekeeper, Stone becomes a power-crazy madman. Next we come to one of Astro's new friends, Cora, voiced by Kristen Bell. Best known from Veronica Mars, including The Cat Returns and Disney's Frozen. I really like Cora. She's spunky and very resourceful, and she makes a great big sister figure. Plus, I really like the friendship chemistry between her and Astro. The kids in Korra's group include Zane, voiced by Moises Arias. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Along with Widget and Sludge, voiced by Madeline Carroll and Sterling Beaumont. To me, these kids, despite not sticking out as much as Korra, are really decent and memorable. Plus, they kind of remind me of Hayner, Pence, and Olette from the Kingdom Hearts games. Next we have Trash Can, a dog-like robot that eats trash whose barking is provided by D. Bradley Baker. Trash Can is my favorite character in the movie due to his cute dog-like behavior. And I find it pretty funny when he writes a message in the sand saying that Astro is a robot only for Zane to admit that he can't read. And I find it pretty funny while Trash Can tries to drive a car and when he fetches a wrench from a far distance. Next we come to Hammock, voiced by comedian Nathan Lane, who got to be in Disney's The Lion King, Mouse Hunt, Don Bluth's Titan AE, Mel Brooks' The Producers, and the Addams Family stage musical. Now, Hammock is a surface dweller who repairs machines and then uses them in his fighting tournament. Hammock initially appears to be a caring father figure, and he even calls Astro son at one point. However, upon finding out that Astro is a robot with super strength, he changes his focus, electrocutes Astro, and turns him into a spectacle for his ring. Which makes me hate this guy. But not as much as Stone. Also, it is revealed that Hammock used to work for the Ministry of Science at one point. These are the Robot Revolutionary Front, or RRF for short. This group includes the leader Sparks, voiced by Matt Lucas, Robotsky, the Muscle, also voiced by Bill Nighy, and Mike the Fridge, voiced by director David Bowers. These guys are a robot rebel group who want to bring freedom to all robot kind. When I first saw this movie in theaters, I found these guys to be a tad strange and eccentric, but they do become okay supporting characters throughout the movie. Another character to talk about is Zog, a 100-year-old construction robot brought back to life by Astro's blue core energy, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. In my opinion, despite not having that many speaking lines, Zog is a kind-hearted robot, and I like the parts where he refuses to fight Astro in Hammock's arena, and when he uses a bit of the blue core energy to save Astro after Stone was defeated and arrested. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Astro Boy is an underrated and fun movie, and despite the robot racism, I think it's a worthy adaptation of one of the famous Japanese anime icons ever. The CGI is fantastic, the characters are great, minus Hammock and President Stone, and the voice acting is absolutely spectacular. I highly recommend you viewers to check this movie out if you guys were once fans of Japanese manga, anime, or Astro Boy himself. So, my rating for this movie will be... oh, what the hey. I give it a full 100%. So too the character sucked. So what? Anyway, that's all for today. Be sure to tune in next time, where we look into the origin story of Marvel's newest Avenger, Mustang Power.